every generation.
Guys, if for
According to a
some
recent
reason
Gallup
the
poll,
stream gets
less than
stopped, please
1% of
understand that it
Americans
will come
born
back
before
up. Just hang tight.
1946,
It just
that's
means
Joe
that I have to
Biden's
stop playing the
generation,
video.
identify that way. 2.6% of boomers do, 4.2% of Gen X, 10.5% of millennials, and 20.8% of Gen Z.
A
Which means if
old
we
weed
follow
with
this
a
trajectory,
little
we
water
will all
pillow
be
in it.
gay in 2054. And then who's going to buy this chair? I'm just saying that when things change this much, this fast, people are allowed to ask, what's up with that? All the babies are in the wrong bodies? Was there a mix-up at the plant, like with Captain Crunch's Oops, All Berries? It wasn't that long ago when adults asked a kid, what do you want to be when you grow up? They meant, what profession? In the wake of America about to lose abortion rights, the ACLU recently tweeted a list of those who would
I'm
be
with you, April Carter.
disproportionately harmed by this.
I'm getting
You would
there
think
right now.
women might top that list? No, wasn't even on the list. Second on the list was LGBT. Really? Abortion rights affects gay and trans people more than, you know, breeders? I'm happy for LGBT folks that we now live in an age where they can live their authentic lives openly. And we should always be mindful of respecting and protecting. But someone needs to say it. Not everything's about you.
Let me just say this. I know that there are folks who feel some type of way about Mr. Marr. First of all, been a 420 friendly content creator person out the gate the entire time. Been who he is this entire time that I know. Had some growth and changes in his journey, some knockarounds too. So to still be around, hey, I appreciated his content way back when. I appreciate this. I appreciate you guys rocking with me. To those of you who are of alternative lifestyles in different communities, we've all got something. Why is your something more important than anyone else's? At the same time, if those around you do not respect you in your life, your lived experiences, and the choices you've made, perhaps, fuck them. We got room for you over here. We have a great time. Got to be open minded. Respect the space, respect the name, respect the work. After that, it's off to the races. Hey, Chris, how's your spirit? How's the new gig going? Shout out to you. Thanks for stopping in with us. All right, here we go. We're going to get back into it. You know, no one wants to be serious on Saturday night, yet we have to be serious sometime. So, ta-da! We do it with a little giggle. Fair use, you guys. Thank you so
And it's
much,
okay
moderators.
to ask questions about something that's very new and involves children. The answer can't always be that anyone from a marginalized community is automatically right, trump card, mic drop, end of discussion. Because we're literally experimenting on children. Maybe that's why Sweden and Finland have stopped
Von
giving
Lakeisha
puberty
says there's a
blockers to
sense of
kids.
entitlement. Yep.
Because we just don't know much about the long-term effects. Although common sense should tell you that when you reverse the course of raging hormones, there's going to be problems.
Puberty blockers to puberty. I had a hard time with the idea of putting the laminate on my children's teeth when they were smaller, just because it was something semi-permanent. You talking about puberty blockers? For why though? Shout out to Big Rig. When I originally was going to post this, it was based off of this comment, right? Off of this video. And my original thumbnail was going to be California cannon fodder. You know, I respect a lot of folks out California way. Shout out to Knowledge and Relationships crew as well. And so I had to be more respectful. Y'all West Coast folks, though, whoo, Y'all might be indoctrinating a little something, something. That's all I'm saying. That sense of entitlement out there is real. Okay. Puberty blockers though. Okay. Okay. My bad.
We do know it hinders the development of bone density, which is kind of important if you like having a skeleton. Fertility and the ability to have an orgasm seem also to be affected. This isn't just a
Oops, my bad,
lifestyle
guys.
decision, it's medical. Weighing trade-offs is not bigotry. Yet when a book questioning the sudden uptick in transitioning children was released, a trans lawyer with the ACLU named Chase Strangio tweeted, "Stopping the circulation of this book and these ideas is 100% a hill I will die on." How very civil liberties of him. Chase, by the way, has just been named one of the grand marshals of this year's New York City Pride March, along with 3 other trans people and a lesbian. Huh, what's missing here? Oh, right, a gay man. That's where we are now. Gay men aren't hip enough for the gay pride parade. Compared to trans, gay is practically cis, and cis is practically Mormon.
Listen, I won't front y'all. There's something about it, right? I have lived some experiences. I'll tell y'all some of them you only get behind the scenes or on the Patreon. But at the end of the day, I've lived some experience, and woosah, Father goodness. Today, I feel like, dare I say, like, never mind, I can't say that. I feel as though I am the wholesome that my son said that I was when he told me to come up here and do this thing. You have mercy on me. Anyway, April Carter says, she said, why they gotta bring my city into this? Well, child, because of Turk and bunnies. But anyway, I'm gonna let it go. It's a joke. It's a joke. It's family. It's what we do over here. She said she's smoking per usual, right? Let me get back into my medicating, by the way, y'all. My bad. All right, back to it.
And this is a phenomenon we need to take into account when we look at this issue. Yes, part of the rise in LGBT numbers is from people feeling free enough to tell it to a pollster, and that's all to the good. But some of it is, it's trendy. Penis equals man? Okay, boomer. Remember, the prime directive of every teen is anything to shock and challenge the squares who brought you up. It's why nobody gets a nose ring at 56. And if you haven't noticed that with kids, doing something for the likes is more important than their own genitals, you haven't been paying attention. Dr. Erica Anderson is a prominent 71-year-old clinical psychologist who is herself transgender and who now says, I think it's gone too far. The LA Times summarizes, she's come to believe that some children identifying as trans are falling under the influence of their peers and social media. If you
Oh,
attend a
I'm so
small dinner
sorry. I'm
party
so sorry.
of typically very liberal, upper-income Angelenos, it is not uncommon to hear parents who each have a trans kid having a conversation about that. What are the odds of that happening in Youngstown, Ohio?
It's the equivalent to me, you guys, and I apologize for being short there. I was doing some work in the background. It's the equivalent to me of um, the number of young black boys that, or young children today, that are diagnosed as being on the spectrum. At first, it was young black boys, and then it became our girls. Now it's a host of children out of a particular part of the country, and it just kind of migrates out, and dissipates as it migrates out. Yet it's a lot. And then on the other side of the country over here, not quite so much of that same diagnosing. Yet there's a lot of, for lack of a better word, indoctrination of a different kind coming from the West. And it seems to be what Bill is talking about here. By the way, never mind. We'll talk about it on the other side.
If this spike in trans children is all natural, why is it regional? Either Ohio is shaming them or California is creating them. It's like that we suddenly all needed bottled water all the time. If we can't admit that in certain enclaves there is some level of trendiness to the idea of being anything other than straight, then this is not a serious science-based discussion. It's a blow being struck in the culture wars using children as cannon fodder. I don't understand parents who won't let their 9-year-old walk to the corner without a helmet, an EpiPen, and a GPS tracker. And God forbid their lips touch dairy, but...
Oh, have mercy.
But hormone blockers and genital surgery, fine. Talk about a nut allergy. I guess penises are gross now, but one might come in handy later on. And if you're a man who wants to experience life without a pair of balls, you do not have to get surgery. You can get married. I kid. Oh, we joke. And never forget, children are impressionable and very, very stupid. Kids don't know why mom drinks every day or why dad has 2 cell phones.
Short story with JP. I was sitting on the porch with my godmother and my mother one day, and we were talking about, I don't know, whatever. We were talking about how she had 2 different phone numbers. And my godmother just said to my mother, "Well, child, you know how it is sometimes." And my little nosy ass was like, "Well, nah, no, I don't." And they both looked at me like, "Well, shut the hell up." Our children see a lot and don't understand a lot. They run their mouths, though, and they hang on to the things that we tell them are not of their business until they become their business. And sometimes they make it their business. So that's why we're having this conversation. We've got to have a better understanding of what's going on. April Carter says, "No, I want to know everyone's opinion on Dwayne Wade's transgender 13-year-old boy or girl. I'm just trying to keep respectful." I mean, on the one hand, I got my thoughts. On the other hand, that's a child. So I'm going to talk about anybody. I'm going to talk about the parents. And then you have to look at the whole situation. The number of parents involved, who's actually making sure that family dynamic, the plan that they put in place, stays on track. Was there a plan in the first place? Any of those things. You know what I mean? So it's really difficult for me. I'm someone who stands in that space, looking back at the younger, thinking, "Well, yeah, damn, y'all hung up." So it's hard for me. It's a fair question though, and I don't know. Perhaps I'll come across something that will make it ring, in a way that I can have the conversation. Or maybe having this conversation with you tonight, April, will give me a reason to look into it a bit more. She says, "Hey, I had 2 cell phones." First of all, how dare you cheat on us with an iPhone? And second, what the hell? What you, April Carter? April Carter. That's not fair. I used to have 2 cell phones at one point too. As a professional, I had one work phone, one personal. So, anyways, April Carter says, "So since we're not bringing children, what are your opinions on Gabrielle Union and Dwayne Wade raising a transgender child?" I don't think this is a I do not believe that that is a decision that can be made that early in a child's life. I've known children of all ages, walks of life, raised them in some ways as a child care provider, parent, so on, having them in my home with my children. And I don't think that, just a second. Ivana says, so it's safe to say that being a two-parent household doesn't prevent. Oh, honey, ain't that the truth? Say it with your chest. I know you was being sarcastic, but go ahead, go ahead, and say it with your chest. Anyway, that's the part. You know, this is not to say that as we're having this conversation, that's why we're watching this video. There are things that your children are witnessing that are molding their mind versus it being their own understanding. Back in the day, it's more than likely, yeah. It's just you were a tomboy, whatever. Perhaps you did like girls. You certainly weren't sure why both boys and girls had nipples, so that had to be a conversation at some point. Now it's all of this weirdness around everything. Nothing can be a straightforward conversation. As we were discussing earlier, it's this back and forth that keeps people from being able to be grounded. And that's the true problem. That's the true cost, so to speak. I don't want to say problem. So we're not raising people who are firm in who they are. And I need to get the definition of cannon fodder, y'all. Long time ago when Big Rig and I were having this conversation, I looked it up and I forgot about it. I forgot to look it up again and put it in there. And yet, so let's just get back into this video. Apologies for going a little further off track than I meant to. Oh, one more thing. Let me get the comments together. My bad. Um, Thank you all for staying with me, by the way. I really appreciate the conversation. April Carter says, I remember Gabrielle Union is not the biological mother of their transgender child. I don't know what happened to Dwayne Wade's child's mother. I believe she's still present, is from what I understood. And then April Carter says, I used to be a tomboy. Now look at me. Bunny twerk. Hey, Miss Carter. Right, tomboy. And then somewhere, it wasn't until like 30 that I made the switch, and that's because I was a mother of boys, right? I realized that I was having too much too much tomboy fun, and they needed to, have some more feminine energy as they got older. They needed to have um, feminine energy with a mindset and understanding that whomever they were to get with, it was a high likely whomever they were to partner with in this life, it was a high likelihood that they were going to be working, um, and may not be in the same situation that I was in as their mother, where I was able to stay at home, or that if they were going to meet a woman who was willing to do that, by the time that they got to that age, she would probably be a professional as well, and to understand those things. There were some things that were missed between their father and I. I accept my responsibility in that. Um, and to be honest, I wish he would too. Because let me just do this real quick. Um, just being honest, I've always hoped that he would find the love that was meant for him. I apologize. We're gonna finish the video and then we'll talk about it. But yeah, just y'all got to start healing, y'all, so that we raise better outcomes. Find the net positive. April Carter says that her tomboy may still be around, but she's not making any decisions for the best interest of. I'm sorry, his mother. Maybe, I'm sorry. The transgender child's mother. Woo, y'all. It's work. It is work out here. Okay? The transgender child's mother um, may still be around, but she's not making any decisions for the best interest of the child that her and Dwayne Wade share. But hey, those are rich people's problems. Are they, though? That's the reason why I'm talking about it. Are they really rich people's problems? The way that so many disenfranchised folks just hand their children a device and have them go sit down somewhere, is it really a rich people problem? That's why we have the conversations that we have on this platform, so that we understand it's not a rich people problem, it's a universal problem inside of this country. And then we can talk about why it's a universal problem and how we can change it. That's the goal. All right, we're going to get back into it. Apologies for being long winded.
Maybe the boy who thinks he's a girl is just gay. Or whatever Frasier was. Maybe the girl who hates girly stuff just needs to learn that being female doesn't mean you have to act like a Kardashian.
We could all agree on that, I think.
Maybe childhood makes you sad sometimes, and there are other solutions besides hand me the dick saw.
Wow.
And look, I'm sure the vast majority of parents do not take this lightly, and that it's very hard to know when something is real or just a phase. And I understand being trans is different, it's innate. But kids do also have phases. They're kids, it's all phases. The dinosaur phase, the Hello Kitty phase. One day they want to be an astronaut, the next day you can't get them to leave their room. Gender fluid, kids are fluid about everything. If kids knew what they wanted to be at age 8, the world would be filled with cowboys and princesses. I wanted to be a pirate.
Arg.
Thank
I
God
can't help
nobody
it,
took me seriously and scheduled me for eye removal and peg leg surgery.
Shout out to Bill Maher. Again, it's new rule along for the pride. I know I stopped a few times in there. Got to make sure we do our best to not get hit by the copyright. You know what I'm saying? And yesterday, that video is still up, and it's so amazing to me, you guys. I'm so proud of how far this little program has come. You have no idea. It's amazing. Anyway, April Carter says, what I meant by rich people's problems is that they're rich, not necessarily what's happening with oh, and yes, correct. Although, again, they're 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 rich by way of not being at home and not being present when they are. That's a universal problem, because if you're out making the dollar and when you're home you're not present and your kinder are into whatever. But yet I do understand what you're saying, that it's not the not what's happening with the child is a separate thing, so to speak. I do understand that. And yes, Bill Maher is an outright fool. Shout out to my big sister for introducing me to that. To Bill Maher and grilled peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. Have you ever had one before? Anyone? Anyone? Shout out to the peanut butter and egg folks. Grilled peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. Anybody? Anybody? Bueller. Bueller. My bad, y'all. I'm a mess right now. All right. On to the next one. You guys, this one is fascinating. I knew these things as a culinarian. Shout out to MJ. I don't know what they're calling him over on. So what I'm gonna do is gonna call him Chef Mo here. I don't know what they call him over on Harris Tribe Media. Yeah, the chef that they have up on Harris Tribe Media. You guys should go check out their channel, by the way. If you have the opportunity, please, please, please. Not right now. Stay here, because they're not live right now anyway. Stay here, hang out with me, and then later on, and if one of the moderators happens to have the link, don't worry. Anyway, what I'm saying is, if you go over there, they have fantastic content. I was there yesterday. They have fantastic content. And they have this gentleman over there, and I call him Chef Mo. He's over there quite frequently. We went to culinary school together. So shout out to Chef Mo. I don't remember if we graduated the same year or not. I'll have to ask him. I was so focused on y'all. Maybe Monday. Maybe Monday we'll talk about my culinary graduation and that experience. That experience was one of those kind of like the round crib experience that I was talking about earlier. I've truly been blessed. You know, they say the creator looks out for babies and fools, and for a long time I was a fool. Now I'm a child of God and I fully understand. Don't get me wrong. I always knew I was a child of God. I was just foolish in my movements. Now I'm a newborn, fully aware and ready for the journey. I'm so thankful, y'all. Y'all just don't understand. And listen, what you say? No, I can't even eat eggs. You can't eat eggs. What you mean you can't? Are you saying that you can't eat eggs because you got some type of dietary restriction for real, or you one of them people that will, you know, you just persnickety about eggs? I have an aversion to eggs after having had the bariatric surgery. When you get to the soft food stage, eggs are one of the things that you can have. Um, and so after 6 weeks of eating nothing but eggs, boiled chicken, mashed potatoes, and whatever, you like, fuck them eggs, I'm out. Yet they're high in protein, and so I have to eat them. But I eat like I have scrambled eggs that have all kinds of vegetables and everything, so that they do not taste like eggs. And more often than not, I will even just do like egg whites and quinoa and veggies every night. But I do try to make sure I get at least a couple of egg yolks in a month. I mean, a week. Excuse me. Oh, you're allergic. Okay, that's fair, April Carter. Now you know it's folks out here just be claiming any old reason not to do a thing. So yeah, it really surprises me. So before we get into the next video, which we're still talking about the same thing, just in a different way. This one was just kind of, to throw in a little, did you know kind of thing. And I brought up culinary school because also while we were in culinary school, one of our thank you, peace of mind. You have a great night and keep your spirit up. Anytime you want to come through, you guys, I'm so terrible. Someone has to remind me to drop the link just in case. So if you guys, I'm working on it, y'all. I'm doing so much now in other movements that I get myself messed up. Anyway, there's the link if anyone would like to come up and discuss. If not, we're gonna get into the next video, and we'll go till midnight for another 45 minutes or so. So we'll have the conversation. I have a couple more videos. It's up to you guys. We can get into it anyway. I appreciate you being here, peace of mind. Be sure to come back and leave a comment. Should you check out the rest of the stream tomorrow, or whatever you hear before you fall off to sleep? I really appreciate you being here. I like doing the late night streams. I am truly a night owl. Um, it's the most it's when I'm most in my comfort zone. Daniel was asking me about study habits earlier, and those were some things that I learned living in Germany. Um, Shout out to the light skinned dude who reminded me about that lived experience. I appreciate meeting you in this space. You helped me remember some things that I had long since forgotten. In some ways, I can still smell the curry ketchup and the pomace. It's amazing. Uh, YouTube's been different for me than other people. And so I enjoy it and being able to go on this journey and not have to call myself a YouTuber is fantastic. A peace of mind says, same here. You work midnights. Okay, yeah. See, there's something about it. It's funny. My nature is to work nights, yet as a mother and a childcare provider, um, um, and culinarian for a while, I had to work in the morning. I had to be up at like 4 or something. We had these T-shirts in culinary school. I don't have one anymore. It says it was like culinary students. We do more before 4 a.m. than most people do before 6 a.m. or something like before military. you know, on that play on the old school military thing, and I was like, yo, real talk. Our culinary classes were 5 hours long. Like our kitchen lab classes were 5 hours long. Some of our in class classes were 5 hours long, and I was doing like 22 credit hours every trimester. I was busting it, and then still working, and then still driving back and forth to see my children, and then. Yo, can't stop, won't stop, crew. Don't know how to sit down, y'all. Shout out to Daniel for reminding me that it's okay to sit down and be a lady. I'm a bit more of a dame, yet I'm appreciative just the same. Hey, bars. Peace of mind says yes. Miracle morning. Yeah, it's something that's one of those things about indoctrination. People often will say, you shouldn't use this word because it means this. You shouldn't use this word because you mean that. Shout out to Big Rig. He's like, JP, though. I'm so sick of with the words, though, JP. In the beginning, he was like, JP, y'all use such big words. I don't want to come in the space. And now he's just like, I'm so sick of them picking apart my words. They know what the hell I mean. Why don't they just listen? I'm with you, Big Rig. But yet, as I told you, coming into this space, you would do just fine. You're the kind of fella people want to talk to. So I look forward to seeing your journey too, sir. All right, so we're gonna get into the video. So peace of mind. I appreciate you hanging out with me, Chris. I appreciate you, guys. If there's anyone that I've forgotten, I do apologize. Blame it on my head and not my heart. I'm only 3.5 months old. There's still some potholes after the things that happened to me recently. Man, I can't wait until I know that story as well as I know the story of how my children got here. When I can tell my story that way, Laura Conover of Tucson, Arizona is going to have some trouble on her hands. And I can't wait. Laura Conover, child, you're going to want to pull up and talk to me. Let me just go ahead and get this together real quick. Let me just say this one more time. Here we go. Hey, Laura. Hey, Laura. Laura girl. Hey, Laura. Laura Conover of Tucson, Arizona. Pima County Attorney. You want to talk to me before I begin to talk to the mainstream media. Or, hell, just because I feel like it, the chicken circuit. The chitlin circuit. My bad. I mean, it really is the chicken circuit. There's a lot of cowards I've met over here along the way. Anyway, we're going to get back into the video. And then we're going to get out of here before too long.
Here are some hidden secrets that Disney just doesn't reveal. Just wait until you find out the reason why Disney has such high-powered vacuums.
Fair use. Shout out to Jake Trent. No, my
Number
bad.
10, security.
Pablito's Way.
The happiest place on Earth is full of rides, characters, and security. Security measures are all over the park, but you can't see most of them. Obviously, certain measures are in plain sight, such as metal detectors and bag checks at park entrances, but the rest are a little less obvious. Disney parks have undercover security guards dressed as tourists walking around the park basically all the time. If security needs to talk to a park guest, only 2 people speak to them. Security
Oops, apologies.
guards do this in order to keep it as low-key as possible. And that makes sense because they don't want to embarrass the park's guests. Disney also has security screening guests at park entrances in an especially sneaky way. They have people, front and back, that are always watching. If they notice someone's doing something that seems suspicious, they'll immediately start following them to check out what's going on. Who knows? Maybe the surveillance is probably as good as how China keeps tabs on its citizens. Do us a real quick favor and hit that like button down there because it really helps us out. Number 9, role-playing. At Disney, it's actually forbidden for cast members to say they, quote, played certain characters. Why? That's because the characters are, quote, real. Cast members can, however, tell someone that they hung out with characters. So, for example, you can say, I hung out with Donald Duck a lot this week, and that's how people know what character you played. Employees definitely are not allowed to post about their jobs, but at least they don't have to give up social media altogether. This happens because if you work at Disney, the most important job is to keep the Disney fantasy alive for anyone that visits. The fantasy stays real because you don't want to start disappointing kids, and that definitely does make sense. There are always 7 or 8 people walking around the park in Mickey Mouse costumes, but when someone asks how many Mickeys are there here, the answer is always 1. And if you've ever wondered why the costume characters never talk, it's because they have to stay silent in front of guests. Yep, that's right. They're never allowed to talk in costume in front of a guest, ever. Number 8, looking the part. From hair to fingernails, Disney has a lot of requirements for the physical appearances of their employees. Women's hair needs to be in a classic style and a natural looking color. Women actually can have highlights, but their hairstyle must be, quote, subtle, well blended, and be over the entire head. That's according to Disney's career site. As for men, their hair can't cover their ears or be long enough to reach their shoulders. Men are allowed to have facial hair, but it has to be neat. And it can't be longer than 1/4 of an inch. Do they actually have people measuring facial hair? There are also very specific fingernail rules for employees. Fingernails can't extend beyond the fingertips, and employees cannot wear nail polish or fake nails. What about tattoos? If you actually wanted to work for Disney, you can actually have tattoos, but it has to be completely covered, whether by clothing or makeup. And how about sunglasses? Surprisingly, employees actually are not allowed to wear sunglasses, or at least sunglasses where their eyes are able to be seen. Number 7.
I'm really curious how that works, how you can be out in the sun, because Disney is in California and Florida and in Europe. I went to Euro Disney. That was absolutely amazing. And so here in the States, actually, I went to Disney here in the States when I was a child. We went to Florida, I believe, or it may have been California. I was spoiled, y'all. I'm a very blessed girl. I'm not gonna call it spoiled. I am blessed by my Creator, um, to have had amazing people in my life to give me so many opportunities and lived experiences to share. As a little girl, I went to Disney. I don't remember which one. I went to Vegas. I went to Circus, and I remember not understanding why the hell I couldn't be down on the floor where the circus was supposed to be taking place, so to speak. I We lived in Europe, and so I got to go to Spain, and I got to go to Euro Disney, and then later on, as a mother, as parents, we'd be able to take our children to Universal Studios, Daytona Beach, um, Six Flags. Just these amazing opportunities, and it was because of decisions and choices and being intentional with our word and our effort, um, doing our best not to indoctrinate, not to give our children this false sense of Disney hopes and dreams. And yet, here I am today, in a way, living a Disney fantasy love, and that's mind-boggling even to me still. I try to wrap my head around it. That's my journey. And figuring out how Daniel and I are going to build our foundation and implement our plans for the future. Well, that's the joy in the journey. I look forward to all of those conversations, where they lead us as individuals, as a couple, as future whatevers. We aspire to great things, and I'm thankful. I'm thankful to each of you. You didn't have to join this conversation. You don't have to watch it on the replay. You don't have to leave a comment. You certainly don't have to like, share, or subscribe. Yet I appreciate when you do. And citizens like you who help grow organic conversations. It may seem trivial when we come in, yet when it's all said and done, more often than not, it's a conversation you can fall asleep to. Not that you should. You should check out Real Talk with Mimsy Limbs over on Instagram and see about getting you one of those silencios. Put your phone on airplane mode. Turn on some rain sleep music and rest easy. Yet, if you can't, I'm usually around this time. Here on YouTube. Definitely Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. We'll see what happens moving forward. That's up to the universe and its intention. I intend to maintain my intuition and let my creator lead. I look forward to it. I hope you do too. All right, let's get back into it.
Hidden
Woo!
tunnels. There are tunnels that you'll
The
most likely
kratom is
never
kicking
see unless you
in,
work for
y'all.
Disney.
Have
For
mercy.
example, Disney has what's called a utilidor system. Basically, it's a set of utility tunnels that takes place underground. These underground corridors allow cast members to quickly move from one place to the next without being seen. It's also for garbage to be magically whisked away out of sight for the guests. Remember, the illusion is never to be ruined at Disney.
Fair use.
Also, at Magic Kingdom in Florida, Disney
Drop
has a
in the
very
link
unique
one more
waste
time.
removal system. The underground trash system is called AVAC, which stands for Automated Vacuum Collection System. It's an underground system of vacuum tubes with 17 collection points around Magic Kingdom. Every 15 minutes, trash is sucked through at a speed of 60 miles per hour to a compactor located behind Splash Mountain. That's where the trash is compressed and then removed from the property. Oh, and one more thing. Employees are encouraged to pick up trash if they see it, but they aren't supposed to make a big show of it. They aren't supposed to stop to pick up the trash. Instead, every employee is trained to scoop up trash while walking. Number 6,
How do you
always
not stop
two
to
fingers.
pick up the trash?
If you've ever been to a Disney park, you've probably missed a strange thing that just about
Okay,
all
though.
the employees are doing: pointing with 2 fingers. Yep,
I thought
that's
this
right.
was
They're
absolutely
not allowed to use
fascinating.
only one finger to point. The 2-finger point is part of the training for new hires at Disney. First and foremost, it's rude in general to point an index finger at someone. In several cultures, just pointing with an index finger is considered rude. In countries such as Thailand and Indonesia, pointing with just one finger is considered rude. A finger salute holds the same offense in Latin American countries as well. In many of those countries, using an open hand is the best way to draw attention to something. However, the 2-fingered point is also supposedly because of Walt Disney's smoking habit. It goes back to old photos of Disney where he's shown pointing to various Disney attractions while holding a cigarette between his 2 fingers. In more recent years, however, Disney wanted to distance itself with the image of smoking, so the cigarettes were simply airbrushed out of Walt Disney's hands.
That's American assimilation indoctrination at its finest. As Ivana Lakeisha said, it's hold on, let me get it. Da-da-da. It's the indoctrination for me, forgive me. Right? You can just airbrush out cigarettes like it never even happened. Nah, he wasn't doing that. Nah, I don't know what you're talking about at all. Nah, fam, nah. What? Make it make sense though. That part, I'm like, that is Disney through and through. That is wow, just wow, wowie, wow, wow. Are we raising cannon fodder? Swear to goodness, this right here, Think about how many of our children um, in society can name a litany of Disney shows, even if you didn't allow them to watch them. It's kind of strange in a way, you know. Oh, it runs deep. Anyway, we're gonna get back into it.
If you're enjoying these secrets revealed on Disney, then you'll definitely want to check out our video about the true cost of our favorite things.
Fair use.
Number 5. What's at the bottom? The Disneyland waterways, such as the rivers of America, the Storybook Land canals of the Jungle Cruise River, have water that appears bluish green. Is that a kind of special effect? Or it's a sign that the water is just really, really dirty? Well, it could be both. The water is dyed green intentionally. In the days of Walt Disney, he wanted you to believe that you were on a 19th century steamship or paddle wheeler and not riding on an actual track. By dyeing the water, you can't see the track because it disguises just how shallow the water actually is. As for the water being really dirty, it's kinda yes and no. The water is heavily chlorinated for harmful bacteria. Additional chemicals are also added to prevent mosquitoes from breeding. But yeah, it's still dirty in our minds since a lot of things end up in the water. Let's face it, crazy rides along with lots of food and drink is the recipe for, let's just call it, bodily fluids in the water. As an added bonus, the dyed water also keeps you from seeing what's at the bottom. Word has it, every time the rivers are drained for maintenance, workers find the most ridiculous things. We're talking crazy things such as wheelchairs, strollers, and whatever else people can accidentally lose in the water. Number 4. Hotel protest. It's been an open secret for years that Disney doesn't treat its employees very well. For example, back in 2008, Mickey Mouse, Tinkerbell, and about 1,000 of their supporting friends got sick with Disney's antics. They held a protest that held up traffic in Anaheim, California. The union, representing workers at 3 Disneyland hotels, marched from the Paradise Pier Hotel to the Disneyland entrance in an attempt to fight for better benefits. Union members that represented Disneyland workers spent months in contract talks with Disney management. This left around 3,000 workers to work without a contract while the negotiations lasted. What was the reason for the protest? It was because Disney wanted to bring in new workers at a lower wage and make them pay more per month for health care. Apparently, back then, the only reason to work for Disney was just for the health benefits. So you can imagine the backlash when Disney wanted to take it away. And you would think that Disney would be better over 10 years later, right?
So when I was in culinary school, one of my classmates worked for Disney. She was not an Imagineer; she was a character, um, and she played the princesses. Um, she, well, whatever it was they said in the beginning, she was one of the princesses. And some of the stories that she told about being there were fascinating. 2 of my instructors somehow worked with the Food Network at some point, and one of them was on The Biggest Loser. When I say it's an amazing time to be JP, especially in JP's eyes. Man. Anyway, let's get back into it, you guys.
Nope. In 2018, Disneyland employees staged another protest, and this time it was about wages again. Disneyland still just pays many of its workers barely above minimum wage. Guess how much the CEO made in 2018? $66 million. Number 3, a magical
$66
union.
million,
The Walt
and
Disney
you can't
Company
pay it
offers
over minimum
magical
wage?
experiences for millions of families at its theme parks. When the average family spends more than $6,300 for a week-long trip to Disney World, it's no wonder Disney rakes in enormous amounts of money.
Yeah,
Given Disney's profits, it may come as a surprise.
That was the other thing too. When we were making a decision on whether or not to go to Universal Studios or Disney, it was really about the fellas, and my fellas weren't big into, Disney type things, even though I had a love for Disney and their father did. They were very much, Marvel dudes before Marvel went to Disney. They were very much Spider-Man, shoot 'em up, that kind of thing. Later on, Universal Studios, or now Universal Studios houses a uh, a section dedicated to Harry Potter. We were into that. Man, I loved playing Legos, all of the Legos games. I loved playing that. That's a great game for families, by the way, guys. If you've got a gaming system and you can get the Legos game series, it's really, really fun. It does have a bit of cartoonistic violence to it. You know, the little Lego heads get popped off from time to time. Yet it's an absolute fun time, and you get to follow the stories that you read. And so, if you want to create, thank you, love. If you want to create something educational out of it, then the way to go about it, shout out to my homeschoolers, is to read, the books and then play the series as the books as you get through the books, and reference the books as you play the series. Make some of the things that are in the book. Do some of those things in order to be able to get more of your lesson plan, or your lesson requirements taken care of, your rubric taken care of inside of that. It's the way to get it done. Shout out to old friends. I'm so excited. I've got a girlfriend coming to see me um, in July. We haven't seen each other in 10 years. It's going to be an absolutely amazing weekend. It doesn't matter at all what we do or don't do. I am amazed and so thankful for everything, y'all. You just don't know. You just don't know. Okay, back to it. We've got, I think, another like 2.5 minutes in this video. And then I've got, I think, one or two short ones. We might get into those. Like I said, I'll be here for another 5 minutes or so. We'll see what happens. I'm ready to spend some time with the fella. I'm glad that he's up late and home. We got to spend some time together today. Yet I'd rather spend a little more.
Surprised that many of the people who are in charge of making the magic happen struggle to make ends meet. Wages at Walt Disney were 8% lower than the national average, with some positions at Disney paying as little as $13,000 per year. The company's history of management versus workers dates back to Walt Disney himself. When Disney cartoonists tried to first come together in union back in 1941, Disney would not allow it. He personally felt betrayed when famous animator Art Babbitt became a union leader. Number 2, resting place. Disney
I forgot about my
custodians find
candy, you
plenty of
guys.
ashes to clean up. Why?
Shout out to
That's
Disney for the
because
citizens.
Disney World is the preferred final resting place for plenty.
Okay. This right here is a freaking shocker. I would have never considered having my ashes spread. Okay, my bad. What? Okay. A resting place at Disney? What? Okay.
Plenty of
Okay.
people's ashes. People spread ashes of loved ones all over the place, and that's why Disney needs extremely high-powered vacuums. The one place ashes are supposedly spread the most is throughout the Haunted Mansion. According to Disney employees, about once a month is how often people spread ashes somewhere in the park. Of course, anyone caught doing this is kicked out. When any of it is discovered on a ride, Disney workers tell guests rides are shut down due to technical difficulties. Then a manager vacuums up anything they see with their high-powered vacuums. Smugglers say getting the ashes past security is pretty easy. It's as simple as putting it in a prescription bottle or disguise it as makeup. So how do Disney workers let their colleagues know about this specific type of cleanup? It goes under the codename HEPA, as in HEPA cleanup. Number 1, Code V. Speaking of code words, HEPA definitely isn't the only.
You know what? From now on, we might borrow some Disney codes over here. How about code HEPA for when people are in their emotions? What do you think? I think that's a pretty good one. There you go. How about code HEPA for emotional cleanups? And then how about hmm I'll let him keep talking and then I'll share this one. You tell me what you think in the comments. If that's a little too petty for the space, you let me know. I can reconsider. I might be out of pocket sometimes, you know.
Only code
There we go.
word Disney staff use. There are plenty of other code words to let other staff know what needs to be taken care of without ruining any guest's experience. For example, when the combination of fast rides and fast food provides too much for someone, a code V is called. A cast member will also just simply warn another member that there's been a protein spill. Rude people are called treasured guests, and if you ever hear a code Winnie, get out of the pool until the pee has been cleaned up.
Oh dear.
Watch this next video to find out about the true cost of
Shout out to the content creator, Pablito's Way. The actual secret truth about Disney World. I may have gotten the title wrong on the fair use piece, guys. I apologize about that. Anyway, I really just thought it's fascinating. I had heard about some Disney folks. Shout out to a gentleman named, and I'm going to say his full name, and I pray, sir, that you are still with us and walking this planet. You are an amazing man. You you helped me come into my understanding of what it was to be a leader as a culinarian um, when I was in Durham, North Carolina, uh, at the North Carolina School of Science and Math. Um, his name is Kenneth Ivory, and he had worked for Disney at one point, and then he came to work for the company that I would work for, Perkins Management Services, I believe was the name, a black-owned culinary hospitality organization. We'll talk about that one day. That was a disappointment. Yet the experience is one that I'll never forget. And Mr. Ivory helped me understand um, how to lead by example and not just by word. Um, how to do more and let your team know that you've got them, even when others haven't. And so we've been having this conversation about indoctrination. And shout out to Dr. Tia San Johnson. I'm going to play one more video. And then after that, I'm going to do some more theme songs and then get ready to get out of here. We got about 17 minutes left. Anyway, at the end of the day, excuse me, um, I'm looking at this space now, right? We started out just talking about the nation at large using Bill Maher's conversation, right? And then we went from there to just checking out the way that Disney indoctrinates its staff and its visitors by the hidden things that you don't really see going on, yet you know are happening. Why you feel so comfortable being in a place with so many people under so many circumstances. And then you get to this space, this YouTube space, where we often hear that black men don't protect, black men don't, black men, black men, black men. How bad they are, how terrible they are. We often hear it coming out of the words of black women, black mothers, mothers of sons, mothers of children not yet sure which direction they are going. Is it a phase? Is it really who they are? Are they exploring? Are they able to do that in your space? Or are you inadvertently telling them that they're not good enough, that they'll never be a protector, that they'll never be a provider, that they'll never, to the point where that's what they've become to understand? That as a black child, they'll never, so they try to be something different. April Carter asked me, oh, I think it was April, about Dwayne Wade and Gabrielle Union and that situation. What that child witnessed. Could this be just a moment in time for someone who could live to be 104 years old? Rest in love, Miss Pauline. She was laid to rest today. As I understand it, so was Kevin Samuels. Same to you, sir. Rest in love. Hey, Big Rig. I think we're supposed to go way back to that song we hadn't done in a while. Not sure why. I guess every now and then you gotta pull a old one out. Talk about it. So yeah, I'm gonna play this video, and then on the other side we're going to play that song, and I'm gonna drop the link if you guys want. It's right there. But if you want to have the conversation, come up and chat. We'll do that. But first, we're gonna start with this video here. Shout out to Dr. Tia San Johnson. Rest in love to Brother Kevin Samuels, Miss Pauline, and anyone that you all may have lost along the way. Forgive me.
83 people work here at Tops Friendly Markets on Jefferson Avenue.
What? It's acting up here. Please forgive me. There we go. I want to make sure that I get this caption right.
83 people.
That's the way that he started it. Forgive me, you all. I'm like, JP, what are you doing? You've not had a single problem getting the video started correctly tonight. And then, well, that's because it wasn't me. And I can see why. There's some, what the brother talks about on a regular basis. This can be upsetting for sure. No one said anything much about these gentlemen. And I think that there's a reason for it. The space would like to call Black men one thing while they use their names and their images to say they care about the people, the families, the community, so on. Not entirely true. We need to speak on that too. Martyring Black men is not an option.
83 people work here at Tops Friendly Markets on Jefferson Avenue, store 250.
But I love that store. That's one big family in that store.
Jerome Bridges has worked here for 4 years, getting promoted to lead scan coordinator back in October.
And I enjoy going to work every day, had a smile on my face. I love working with my co-workers, even though they used to get on my nerves sometimes.
Smiling now hard for Bridges to do as he relives the horror of Saturday's mass shooting.
It's messed with my sleep. Every time I close my eyes, that's all I can see. It's that guy shooting people inside the store.
That day, he grabbed his coworkers, running into a conference room for safety and jumping into action.
I said, y'all need to get low on the ground and be quiet and don't say a word. I said, I don't want this guy coming through the door to shoot. So I pulled that table over to the door and barricaded the door with it.
Employees like Bridges were and remain top of mind for Tops President John Persons.
Certainly we're continuing to pay all the associates in the store, and as we'll make sure that they have food. We'll make sure that they have grief counseling and whatever help that they need.
Persons tells me the next step was to support those impacted, creating the 514 Survivors Fund.
Again, rest in love to all of those who lost their life and to one of Laura's children. We need to start putting a name to these things that people can recognize and understand and say quickly, as quickly as they can recognize a Karen. They need to recognize Laura's children. That young white supremacist It's one of Laura's children right there. We need to make sure that we understand that. So rest in love to those who lost their lives. Thank you to those who stood up and did what they could. We understand there's so much hurt and so much loss. We're here for you in whatever way one small community can. We'll seek answers and justice long after others have forgotten. Sometimes it may not seem like it. It may come in different ways. It may look different. At the end of the day, we'll put a voice to it. We'll put a name to it. Yes, Big Rig, Laura's children. They named our children terrible things, our men, our sons, our daughters through the years. Let's put names on theirs. If there's a hierarchy for caring, then there are Lauras out there. You know, liberal white women, cauliflower, if you prefer. Liberal cauliflower women. The ones Malcolm X said that would be a problem for the community. Those are Laura's, and these are Laura's children. 18 years old, running around into other people's neighborhoods, shooting them up. Those are Laura's children, Big Rig. Would you happen to have a different name for them? They're not simply white supremacists. They're young, you see, and that'll be the argument. So we want to make sure that we deal with Laura's children, that we have the ability to discern them. That's to recognize them on sight and move accordingly. I told her she should talk to me. She should come see me. Memorial Day will be here soon. We're remembering these people and so many others who were lost to Laura's children. I'm emphatic about her talking to me before it's too late, Big Rig. That's all. One wouldn't want a similar action to happen here in Tucson. There's so many events that go on. Big Rig says no filter zone, raw and uncut. I appreciate that, Big Rig, because I didn't curse. I didn't yell. I didn't emote. I didn't get out of pocket. And what I say today, I'll mean tomorrow. Laura's children. Now, let's go ahead and get into that song. Big Rig, the link is down there if you'd like to come up. I understand if you don't. It's late. It's almost midnight out here on the West Coast. What have you been up to this evening, sir? Anyway, get your lighters up, y'all. This song's dedicated to my homie in that history. I love you, Cuzzo. Perhaps you and KS have met and y'all are getting into a little combo about dealing with talking to me. He got the polite, respectable me. You got the cousin me. I miss you, Demaria. It was an amazing month. It helped build this foundation in whatever I move moving forward. I took my 42 your memory. Take a drink and I start to think and I know one day soon we'll be. This is for my cousin. This is for my cousin. Well, well. See you when I get there. Rest in love to all of the souls we lost and the spirits of those they've left behind. See you when I get there. Gangsta lean, gangsta lean. Of his memory, so his I tip my 40 to your memory. Take a drink and I start to think and I know one day soon we'll be hanging out. You said it, Big Rig. So many losses this year. So many lifetimes. So much history. So much family. Story after story after story. Untold. Overlooked. Unheard. Yeah.
That's somebody's daddy, somebody's baby, that's somebody's homie. So go and let them rest in peace while they that gangster lean. You know what I'm saying? That's on the real level. This is for my homies. See you when I get closer.
This is for my homies. And that gangsta lean. Well, well, well. See you when I get there. I'm so sorry you're gone, but I gotta keep moving. I gotta keep moving. I gotta keep moving, 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 moving. See you when I'll see you one day, someday, someday. Whew, man, you know, Big Rig, you and I started the year out in this space with that song. I didn't know how relevant it would be at the time. Um, and yet, it's something that I've come to cherish about this space. Um, and so I thank you for being honest with me, for being willing to share that bit of your life with me back in January and let me know what was going on. Um, it was pivotal in a way that I wouldn't know um, until recently. So I'm thankful to you for that. Uh, and I mean that. Uh, so, yeah. Uh, just thank you. Thank you again. So, yeah. You're you're a cool cat. I appreciate you being in this space and lending me your ear. I really do. Um, apologies, y'all. You got a theme song for me, Big Rig, before we get out of here? He says, I find myself tearing up over the most simplest acts of kindness. Yeah, these days, Big Rig, it's so rare. It's rare for people to be polite, nice, kind, respectful. I don't know. Anyway, you got a theme song for me? I um, I have one. It always cheers me up when I think about those I've lost. Uh, so I'll play it, and it'll take us into Sunday morning here. I'm sorry. No, I'm not. It'll take us into Sunday morning. We're still in morning. Been a couple of weeks. So I'm going to play my theme song, and then we're going to play Big Rigs. I'm going to drop the link. If there's anyone who would like to have the conversation, you're more than welcome to come up and do so. Once again, rest in love, Miss Pauline. Truth is never favored said, I apologize. He said to me recently, he wouldn't want to live to be that old because of the, possible health constraints or whatever. And I just know that wasn't Miss Pauline's experience. That little woman just the most amazing thing. I tell you, if the girl had a hero, she was definitely it. She's the matriarch I aspire to be. And so if the universe wants to give me another 50, 60 years, another 4, 5 more youngers, whatever, I'll take it. And I don't know if that's a sign from the universe. It's like, oh my God, there's a fire department here. We're not going to go be nosy. We'll sit here for a while, though. We're going to get into the song. And while we do, let's just be positive. Put some joy into the space, just in case. How about that? Oh, and they're right here. Wouldn't that be interesting if my neighbor called the police because I'm sitting here and he's just that kind of lame? We won't speak that into existence. I'll carry my ass in this house and lock the door.
Follow me, 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 yeah, follow me. We're hoping.
One of my neighbors is an epileptic, so I'm looking out to make sure that it's not him as well. Yo, the pistachio brigade around here is something serious, y'all.
Can all relate. We must keep striving to achieve
They're going to the front side of the building.
If we just keep believing, we shall all be free. Follow me. Why don't you follow me?
I love this song, baby.
Follow me free. Follow me. Follow me. Follow me. Follow me, yeah. Follow me. Follow me. Follow me. Follow me. Follow me, yeah. Follow me.
I want to teach us a song. Is that all right?
We're gonna get into this part a little bit, and then we're gonna get to your theme song, Big Rig.
And how his love is
This is my workout
unconditional.
song right here, Big Rig.
How his love is unconditional and it brings favor.
7 minutes to this, me and Bunny.
Anybody glad for God's love? What greater love than this, that a man will lay down his life for his friends. Listen, let me teach you this. Listen, listen. Your love is favor. We feel it favor. Your love is favor. We feel it favor. Next part, this is what you're gonna say. Listen. Favor. We feel it favor. We feel it favor. Come on, sing it with us. Your love is.
Your love is favor.
Hey, with them cauliflower emoji, don't you be putting your hands up at me. You love my bunny.
Unconditional.
Your love is
Pause.
favor.
We feel.
We feel it favor.
Come on, sing it from your heart. Tell him your love is.
Your love is favor.
Ooh,
All right.
we feel.
We feel it favor.
Thank you, Lord.
Your
Very
love is favor.
We
spiritual.
feel.
We feel it
Hey,
Come
where's
on,
Kate?
next part. Everybody to the right. Let's go.
Just a thought while you over there clapping your hands to your forehead, trying to make it seem like it's just me. I had folks in here earlier who were happy to see the bunny. A pause. Dang. Anyway. I'm so messy.
Love, there's so many things I've got to tell you, but I'm afraid I don't know how. 'Cause there's a possibility that you look at me differently, love. Ever since the first moment I spoke your name, from then on I knew that by you being in my life, things were destined to change. 'Cause
Oh, you say she's sweet? I bet you.
so many people use your name in vain. Love, those who have faith in you
I'm feeling better
sometimes go
about not speaking out of turn.
astray. Love,
Shout out to Harmony Pill. I muted myself.
through all the ups and downs, the joys and hurts. Love, for better or worse, I still will choose you first.
See? You said don't start. I did it. I caught
Many
myself.
days I've
this
longed
time.
for you,
Just
wanting
this time, Big
you,
Rig.
hoping for the chance to get to know you, longing for your kiss, for your touch, your feel.
You know, if I had to pick
Many nights
a music
I've
soul
cried
child
from
song
the things you do,
and
felt like I could die from the thought of losing
that I would dedicate to
you.
Daniel,
I
it'd
know
be, I
that
think,
you're
this
real,
right now.
with no doubts and no fears and no questions.
This one. I like Harmony Pill too. She's alright with me. I don't know if I can really let her, get with one of the fellas, 'cause I can't take her in a fight. She's damn near 6 feet tall. I mean, I ain't saying can't. Forgive me, y'all.
I was told the true definition of a man was to never cry, work till you're tired, got to provide, always be the rock for my fam, protect them by all means, and give you the things that you need, baby. Our relationship is suffering, trying to give you what I never had. You say I don't know how to love you, babe. Well, I say show me the way. I keep my feelings deep inside, I shadow them with my pride. I'm trying desperately, baby, just work with me. Show me the way to surrender my heart. Girl, I'm so lost. Yeah. Teach me how to love. Yeah. How I can get my emotions involved. Yeah. Teach me, show me how to love. Show me the way to surrender my heart. Girl, I'm so lost. Teach me how to love. How I can get my emotions involved. Yeah. Teach me how to love. I was always taught to be strong. Never let them think you care at all. Let no one get close to me. Before you and me, I done shared things with you, girl, about my past that I'd never tell to anyone else. Just keep it to myself. Girl, I know I lack affection and expressing my feelings. It took me a minute to come and admit this, but see, I'm really trying to change now. Wanna love you better, show me how. I'm trying desperately, baby, please work with me. Show me the way to surrender my heart. Girl, I'm so lost. Yeah. Teach me how to love. How I can get my emotions involved. Yeah. Teach me, show me how to love. Show me the way to surrender my heart. Girl, I'm so lost. Teach me how to love. How I can get my emotions involved.
Anywho, you guys, I'm gonna